Hello folks, welcome to another video here in the Microsoft Sim and in this aircraft, the SimWorks Studios Kodiak. Yes, it is getting a bit of airtime on my channel lately folks. I'm enjoying it, really enjoying it, and flying it in different parts of the world and on different missions. I do notice now, so thanks to a viewer, a subscriber the other day mentioned that the nose wheel sits off the ground, and now I can't take my eyes off that. There it is, a better view. I wonder if that'll be fixed in the update to come. I don't know, folks. We hear about this update. I've been hearing about it for a while. Still waiting for it to actually appear, available for download. So the Kodiak, folks, is our steed for today's journey. We've got a three-legger planned, a three-leg FS economy run, beginning in this location. Now, if you can recognise this location, you're a better man than I. I couldn't. I guess if you're local, you might recognise the hills. We are in a place called Coffs Harbour, folks, which is sort of on the central coast of New South Wales, state of New South Wales. Pretty decent sized population, pretty significant town, the Coffs. And yeah, three-legger, flying Coffs up the coast, and we're going to end up in Brisbane. How about I show you that on a map? And here is the said map, a little nav map to be precise. So, three-legger. Coffs, as I said, going to head in a northerly direction to a place called Ballina, which is up here on the coast, home of the big prawn. We might check that out. Hey, that was added in Sim Update number 7. From Ballina, we'll stop there, offload some packs, pick up some new packs, and then continue our journey northbound, headed for Cooley or Gold Coast. We might stop via the Cape Byron Lighthouse. Have a look at that as well, just because we can, the famous Byron Bay. And then our final leg will take us for the relatively short run, 50 odd miles from Cooley up to Brizzy. And we may have a look at some points of interest here in the city that were added as part of Sim Update number 7. We'll see how we go, folks. See what sort of mood I'm in by the time we get there. Anyway, FS economy run. Look, flying time probably about an hour and 15 all up. In the Cody, something like that. It'll be a heavily edited video, so you won't have to suffer through the en route portions. But if there are points of interest or stuff happening that I think might be worth sharing, I'll do so. Anyway, I'll get us started and get us airborne out of Coffs. Alright, here we go, folks. Runway 10 at Coffs, the cross strip, just because we can, and because it was the closest point to my parking spot, and I don't feel like a long taxi. That's why we're doing it. Planned altitude 6,000, folks. Let's do this thing. Don't know what the wind's doing, we're about to find out. Give it a bit more juice. Not too much juice though, it's a little bit too much juice, pal. You're in the red, bring that back. Close enough. Here we go. 50 knots. About 65, we'll get airborne here, about here. We start to rotate. And away we go. We've got a right boot. Heading into the sunshine. Oh, there's no wind at all according to the PFD. That's gorgeous. That's very handy. We'll make an early left-hand turn and begin our northbound journey up towards Ballina. Take flaps up as we do so. Still early morn here, folks. There's the beach. I don't know what the name of that beach is. Could be something simple as Coffs Harbour Beach. I don't know. Locals might want to chime in here. I often do get viewers that are local to the different parts of Australia that I fly, and they correct me. And I appreciate it. I need a little bit of footwork here, pal, to fly in balance. Thank you. And we'll come back on the juice a little bit. Take another shot out over the town. There we go. Looks like a racetrack over here behind the wing. And then the city of Coffs Harbour, folks, in all of its splendour. Weather up here this morning is it looks pretty good. It has been very ordinary. We might talk about that en route. The weather on the east coast of Australia of late, and it continues down in Sydney. They've got some issues with the wet stuff. A week ago it was sort of up hitting Queensland and northern New South Wales, which is where we're flying today, hitting it very hard indeed. loss of life, extensive property damage. The cost, I think, in capital city of Queensland, being Brisbane, I think has been estimated at somewhere between $2 and $4 billion. Yeah, and I think at last count about a dozen people lost their lives in southeast Queensland, and I think there's some further loss of life in New South Wales. So floods tend to do some damage when they come through, and we get them on a fairly regular basis in Australia, but perhaps not as devastating as this time around. Although we've had worse. That said, yeah, like I said, as a country, we're no stranger to natural disasters, folks, and it builds resilience, is the positive side, if there is one, and it also destroys lives and costs an absolute shit ton of money, which is on the negative side. Anyway, I don't want this video to be a negative one. I'm trying to be positive. There's so much negativity, so much bad news in the world these days, isn't there? And I sim to escape some of that, but I'd be amiss, or remiss even, if I didn't talk about some of these things, because they are front and centre, and we are in this part of the world that triggers some of that sort of memory. So that's what's happening here, folks. So your damper flight director autopilot. We'll sync our heading. We will intercept the magenta fairly soon. We'll get our trim sorted. Rudder trim. I'm taking outside view even for you in a minute. We've got the rudder trim going the wrong way. Not that left. The proper left. Good lord. Right, we can intercept the magenta about here. We'll go nav hold. We'll get the landing lights off because we can. Temps are good, 23 degrees. We're all sweet there. And I'll take an outside view for those that like that. And I don't mind an outside view in a gorgeous morning like this. There we go. We say farewell to Coffs, folks. Behind us, the main drag, the coastal route. Underneath us. And yeah, we continue our northbound journey as my little one decides to chime in. And I'm sure that won't be the last time you hear her in this video, folks. Anyway, we'll continue our climb up towards Ballina, and I'll see you for the approach into there. Alright, so on descent into Ballina. This will be the Richmond River in front of us here, the city of Ballina, and then the field is sort of over here. The runway orientation at Ballina is 0624. Last time I checked, and we've had a westerly breeze which has sort of been blowing from this direction here for most of the trip, and I would expect that based on that we'd probably land runway 24 at Ballina, so we'll sort of follow the river and sort of make a left base onto 24. So the big prawn is sort of up here somewhere, next to a Bunnings, I'm told. I reckon that might be a Bunnings. Not that. That building over there that I'm sort of pointing out. Let's jump back inside. We'll kind of follow the river. In fact, we'll give Georgie a rest, and do some flying, make ourselves useful, and we'll sort of head in that direction. We'll see if we can identify the big prawn, which is literally a big fiberglass prawn, folks. Prawn, for the American viewers, akin to your shrimp. For some reason, well, it's clear what the reason was, to appeal to the American viewers. Paul Hogan, very famous, local legend, comedian here, particularly in the 70s and 80s. Crocodile Dundee, that's him. He did a famous sort of campaign where he invited Americans to come and visit Australia. I think it's back in the 80s, and said that we'd throw a shrimp on the barbie for you. Well, no Australian's going to offer to throw a shrimp on the barbie for you. We might throw a prawn or two, but yeah, same thing, right? So where's the big prawn? Might slow down a little bit further. Now, let me just have a bit of a... Might have to do a bit of an orbit here. Have I missed it completely? It's so bloody long since I've seen it, since I've been here in real life. Where is it? There it is. I'm going to have to get low and slow here, folks. It's a bit hard to spot. I'm going to have to put the brakes on a little bit. Might get a bit of flap out. Just forgive me. It's down near that Bunnings. It wasn't a Bunnings there when I was here in real life. I can assure you of that. It's a long time ago. There's a prawn. Yeah, we've overflown it. So let me do that again. What I could do, of course, is just edit this part out of the video and make it look like I nailed it first time. I could do that, but where's the fun in that? That's not the sort of videos I make, folks. Anyway, we've got ourselves slowed down. Yeah, 90 knots is good enough. We're down to about 300 feet as well. Yeah, we'll be scaring the locals at this point. Alright, so we'll track back and head for the prawn. I want to make sure everyone sees the prawn. That may be the highlight of this video, folks. Where the bloody hell are we? There's the Bunnings. Right, there's the Bunnings. Now I'm going to try and take an outside shot. Try not to get too slow. And I'll take an outside shot out to the left just as we go past it. Alright, that's the plan, which is this view out here. Maybe even this view. He's going to miss it again. Oh, mate. Where is it? There it is, right there, folks. Prawn sighting. Big fiberglass prawn, as promised. There it is. Jeez, that was worth it, wasn't it? Let's head for the field, which is up towards the north. We'll leave the flap out. Why not? Just crawl in to the field. Do a nice low level flyby. Try and avoid these power lines, which are here. Right, direct to the field. Runway 24 is going to be the go. We'll give ourselves a tight left circuit. Here we go. There is a field out there, folks. How many flight simulation videos are there where the person making the video is absolutely committed to showing you a picture of a fiberglass prawn? Hey? I suffer for my craft, folks, and you all suffer as a result of my videos. Ah, jeez. What I say earlier about there's so much bad news in the world, yeah, and I do this to escape. Yeah, sometimes I escape a little bit too far, eh? Trying to get me views sorted out. There's the field. This is going to be one tight circuit right there, runway 24. It's alright. We'll take second stage. Got to offload these packs and get the virtual coin into the bank. Talk about a tight left base. Have a look at this. There's the strip. There's the threshold. Yep. Nice and tight. Nice long strip for us though. So we might land long. Hey? Probably got no choice at this point. Go full flap as well. And every flight's an adventure with the old fella. Everything's improvised. Oh, no, we'll take a different view. We're definitely going to land long, right? 70 knots, crawling in. It'll be alright. The terminal's at the other end. There we go. We found a runway, folks. Easier than we found the prawn. Alright, a little bit of a crosswind. Don't try not to plant it on. Yeah, that wasn't great. But anyway, we're on runway 24 Ballina. And we'll just roll out a little bit further. Yeah, I definitely wasn't straight when I landed there. But it doesn't matter, right? I'll try and slow up a little bit jittery. Try to get off at this taxiway. That's where we wanted to get off. And we will achieve that. There it is. Oh, jeez. This is a bit ordinary, this field. It looks nothing like Ballina. There might be some decent payware out there, folks. I don't have it. Look, we'll just park here next to the fuel truck. I think we might actually need some fuel. There's a Cody there as well. We'll keep him company. There we go. I'll put the brakes on a bit. There we go. Folks, welcome to Ballina Byron Airport. I'm going to unload these packs, load some more up, and we'll continue on our way down to Coolangatta. Righto, leg 2 of this adventure, folks. We landed on runway 24 here at Ballina, which means we're going to take off 06 because we can. It's the shortest taxi for me, and that'll do. We've got flaps set, we've got trim set, we've got lights on, local barrow still remains. 4,000's plugged in for our cruise, 40 miles up to Cooley. Probably should align our heading bug. Runway 06 Ballina, let's do it. 4 packs on board. A little bit more juice. There's 50. Sort of start to rotate. Away we go. A little bit of a breeze there. Crosswind from the left. A little bit choppy. Alright. Safely away, folks. We'll get flaps out of the way early. Make that nice early left-hand turn, which is becoming a bit of a trademark. Folks, I'll continue our way up to the Gold Coast, along the coast. What we might do is I'll rejoin you as we get to Byron Bay, which is just down the road here. I'll fly us towards Cape Byron, rejoin you at that point, and then rejoin you again for the approach into Coolangatta. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Right, so this is Byron Bay in front of us, folks, as we Cape Byron, the easternmost point of mainland Australia. Cape Byron. There is a lighthouse here. I don't know whether I think there's a lighthouse depicted there in the sim. Great view from up there. If you go to Byron, most people go and do the little side trip, have a look at the Cape, look across the Pacific Ocean, and wonder where it ends. Then they go and look at an atlas and they realise where it ends. Anyway, Byron Bay, folks. What can I tell you about Byron? Been there a few times. Bit crowded for my liking these days. Yeah, there is a lighthouse here. Bit crowded. There's kind of two parts of the society in Byron. There's the richies that have moved from Sydney, Melbourne and other places in Australia and have homes up here, multi-million-dollar homes. There's the lighthouse. That's pretty cool. And then there's the people that are into more of the alternative lifestyle. We used to call them hippies back in the day. They sort of live further out, although some of them probably do live in the town. Anyway, let me jump inside so I can get us around the corner here. Big, dirty, big heading change, Georgie, be good. We fly around. And then I'll take an outside view again for you. There we go. There's the lighthouse, Cape Byron Lighthouse. Yeah, beautiful beaches, beautiful part of the world, just absolutely magic, the scenery. And there's a definite vibe, there's a Byron vibe. But yeah, it's quite a contrast. You've got people who are very, very wealthy, the uber wealthy, and you've got people that have nothing at all in terms of wealth. And they just, they do find a sense of community up here. I'll give them that. There are some alternative views, to be polite, and some dead set crackpots, to be perfectly non-polite, that call Byron and surrounds homes. Particularly noticeable during the pandemic. Some of the most rabid, if I can use that word, rabid opponents to vaccines and mandates and all that sort of stuff could be found in this part of the world, and some of them paid the ultimate price for their beliefs. But look, I don't want to offer too much of a commentary on alternative lifestyles. There is no there is no normal these days, and everyone's entitled to their own sort of views. I just wish more people would consider things like evidence and facts and common sense and reality before they form some of their views. And even when they're presented with all those things, they still hold on so tightly to their views, which are fundamentally wrong. And it just creates further problems for them and for society in general. But yeah, I don't know what my point is. There may not be a point, folks. I'm going to continue our journey towards Cooley. It's just up the road. 20 miles to go. I'll see you for the approach into there. About 10 miles to run into Cooley, folks. We're losing some viz. We are down pretty low. We're like 1,000 feet. Scooting across the top of these hills. Sort of in the range of sort of Cabaret to Casuarina, if I'm right. Am I right? Coming up to Kingscliff further down. Locals to this part of the world, would I be correct? Turn that sound down a little bit. Yeah, gorgeous part of the world, but hit pretty hard. I meant to mention as we headed into Ballina, I got fixated on the bloody prawn, as you do. I meant to mention the town of Lismore, which was hit particularly hard during the flood. Absolute disaster zone down there. That'll take some serious rebuilding. How many lives have been affected? And I'm hearing, and it was kind of my experience as well. I mean, I didn't have a river coming through my joint. I jumped back inside. I didn't have to worry about that. If the river comes through my place, the end of the world is nigh. But where we are, we were isolated for quite a while. We had the only way in and out was via chopper for a few days there. Yeah, the scenes down in Lismore were something else, and in other parts of southeast Queensland as well. As we lose viz here at 1,000 feet, folks, I might go autopilot off. But what I was going to say was that there was a sense this time around, a bit like, there was a few people, I didn't necessarily feel it myself, just basically, I guess because of the type of person I am, but there was a sense of abandonment from the government, right? Some people made comment of that, and I'm hearing that come out of communities in northern New South Wales in particular. There was, a sense that we're on our own sort of thing. I think it's kind of true. Most of the time we are. Fortunate where I live that there's a sense of community and people stepping up and filling the role that perhaps people are looking to government to fill, that government just ain't going to fill anymore. There has been a real palpable sense amongst some people that we've been abandoned a bit. And that's pretty concerning. But is it all that surprising? I don't know. I've got my own views on that. I won't go into. We're going to try and land this aeroplane. Coolangatta appears before you, folks. Coolangatta Tweed. There's Cooley up there, and this is the Tweed Heads, etc. This is the Gold Coast Airport. Runway 32 is what we're going to land on. And considering where the wind is blowing from, that would be a pretty healthy choice for the old fella to make. One of the few healthy choices that he might make today. Coming in a little bit hot, we need to slow down a bit. Yeah, the weather's getting worse the further north we go. Anyway, nothing like it's been in real life over the last couple of weeks. Shout out to all the people that are affected by the flooding. Absolute devastation. My little comments here and my shout outs on a flight simulation video have very little meaning to anyone, but Australians do have a sense of community, of mateship, and during these times we do find that maybe not from government sources but from just local ordinary people, there's a great sense of community, and we all pitch in and help each other in our own way, and that's wonderful to see. I wish it didn't take an absolute disaster for some of that stuff to come out sometimes. Betty gave us the 500 feet call there, did she? I've got the sound turned down, folks. I can't be sure. As we continue to slow, we're a little bit low, are we, on the profile? 4 reds. Ugh. We're a little bit quick though. I'll take full flap, get the brakes out. Runway 32 Cooley, nice, sort of 5 knots on the nose by the looks of it. You don't want to get into idle, mate. Speed continues to bleed off, still a bit quick. Runway 32 Cooley. Bleed that speed off a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, and I'm going to touch down here in a minute. There we go. Touchdown. Nice and slow. We'll get off at the first available taxiway to the right, which will be here on the right hand side. A little bit of braking, and off we go. Folks, I'll find a place for us to park, offload these packs, take on another set, and head off on our third and final leg of the journey down to Brisbane. So I'll see you for that in a few minutes. Coolangatta from Gold Coast up to Brisbane. Short flight, 50 odd miles. Not quite as short as our leg from Ballina, but short enough. Now we've got our rudder trim set, we've got our elevator trim set. We are really low on juice. We've got about 60 gallons in the tank. So we're kind of going to be landing on fumes, I reckon, into Brizzy. And we'll take an intersection departure here. Pretty long strip here at Cooley. So we'll go heading bugger line. Did we do anything with our lights? We kept our landing lights on, of course we did. That's how we roll. Temp's still good. Trim's fine. Flaps are good. Let's do this thing, folks. Leg number 3. Introduce the juice. Here we go. Juice set. Close enough. A little bit of breeze here from the right. I can sort of rotate about there. A little bit choppy. A bit more right boot required, mate. Runway heading for a bit. We basically just continue the runway heading. It'll take us all the way to Brisbane Airport, basically. We're flying into some fluffy stuff by the looks of it. Got 4,000 is our planned altitude, and we'll let Georgie fly through the clouds at 4,000, which won't make for a great video, folks. So I'm going to save you the pain of that. I was just reflecting as we climb out here, just reflecting on an earlier comment I made as we come into Coolangatta around the sense of abandonment from the government. And I just wonder sometimes if people expect too much from the government. Expect them to save the day or to tell them what to do in every possible situation. You know, there's some people that I heard some commentary as I was walking around the local neighbourhood during the sort of height of the flooding to assess the damage and all that sort of stuff, and there were some people, you know, that would be milling around certain locations. I'll just go into let Georgie do some flying here, and making a comment to the effect, because we lost power and, you know, therefore Wi-Fi, and yeah, we had, you know, you got your 4G or 3G or 2G or whatever it is out here, and people making comments to the effect of, well, we don't know what to do. Are we supposed to evacuate? And at this point, we were essentially isolated, the community I live in. No way in or out except by air, and the conditions weren't exactly suitable for visual flight. So we had to wait until we had a break in the weather so the choppers could get in. It was a little bit dangerous for them otherwise. And yeah, sort of, you know, questioning, well, what do we do? Well, what do you think you should do? Well, first of all, you got nowhere to go. There is no evacuation centre, at least locally anyway, so you just got to find higher ground if you're at risk. And you know, where are you going to get your information? Well, there's this thing called a radio. You know, some of us used to use them. They're still available, and if you listen to certain frequencies on the radio, you get information. We have a national broadcaster here in Australia called the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, or ABC. No affiliation to the American version, so we get on top of the clouds here and have a look down on the Goldie. you know, and the radio provides you with information about what's happening. It doesn't provide you with direction on what to do. You've got to take some personal responsibility, and I just wonder if that comes into this a little bit. Have we as a society, or certain groups within societies, I take a shot down on the beaches for you folks, coming up through Broad Beach and then into Surface and whatever. You know, I just wonder if that feeds into the problem, this sense of abandonment. I mean, what do you expect the government to do? Yeah, they have a role to play, particularly in recovery, in terms of furnishing funds for same, absolutely. And there's some genuine, I think, some valid criticism around that. But you know, in the heat of the moment, heat of battle, when it's teeming down, you got water coming through your joint. You can't expect to call someone from the government and have them tell you what to do. You've got to take some personal responsibility. And people crowdfunding, I think, is that the right term? Crowdfunding? Crowdsourcing? On GoFundMe and whatever. We've already got to our cruise altitude, Georgie. That didn't take long. You know, crowdfunding to help them rebuild and all that sort of stuff because they don't have insurance. Well, and the whole thing about insurance is another interesting discussion. Some people genuinely can't get insurance because the risk is so great, and insurers are just like, we ain't going to have a bar of it. And that's kind of what you've got to accept if you live in that particular location. But then there are other people who, for whatever reason, and cost being one, and their assessed risk being the other, is that they choose not to get insurance. And then when shit goes wrong in a big way, they expect others to foot the bill for their decisions. You know, and sorry if it feels like I'm on a bit of a rant here, folks. I'm really reflecting on my own comments and own thoughts about the situation, because it's been a couple of weeks now since it kind of this particular event started to impact us, and you know, we're on the other side now. We're still limited in terms of getting around. We've only got one way out of our community, and the other road remains blocked and will do for at least a few days if there is still a bridge underneath that water. So it just gives, you know, I've sort of had a bit of time to process it and to see it affecting other people. And this is what you're hearing here. It's just that reflection, which I didn't expect to have, but is what I'm now having. And I hope that by showing you some scenery here, beautiful part of the world, the Gold Coast, very populated now. It has changed a little bit over the years. It used to be quite laid back, almost. Now it's busy. It's quite expensive too. I mean, it's not Brisbane expensive, but it's getting there. The urban sprawl, you just see it just goes forever into the hinterland. But it's still a place of natural beauty. You know, this part of the world here. SeaWorld's down here. Some resorts. Yeah, sort of main beach, and then sort of Southport's over the other side here. And can I zoom down? Yeah. What was I saying? Anyway, folks, I don't know if I've got a point to make. I probably don't. You're just hearing as I said, a reflection during a flight simulation video of all places. I will stop talking and let Georgie do some flying, take us towards Brisbane. It won't be long, and we might take a detour to the Brisbane CBD just to have a look at some of the points of interest. I do also have the Orbex Brisbane City thing installed. It tanks the performance in the sim, but it may be the only time I ever show it in this video, so we'll do that and then land into Brisbane and Brizzy, and that will conclude the video, so I'll see you for that portion. Right, folks, Brisbane CBD ahead of you. The Gabba, the famous Gabba, the cricket ground. Brisbane Cricket Ground is there. And what you should expect here is a fair bit of stuttering, folks. And you're seeing that play out right on cue. This is Orbex's Brisbane City thing. And it really has an impact on performance, at least on my rig. But we're going to do an orbit of the city regardless. As I said earlier, this may be the only time I feature it in a flight simulation video. And performance issues aside, it's pretty well done. That reflects modern Brisbane CBD pretty well. Some of these apartment buildings here, which is on a place called Kangaroo Point, they're okay. They're realistic enough. It certainly is a pretty big improvement over what the sim was showing when it was first released. I think I did make a video highlighting some of that stuff. There's the Story Bridge. That's a pretty good rendition of the Story Bridge. And so we head out towards the west. Yeah, so the flooding sort of had a pretty big impact on this part of the city. A few things went under. That's pretty well done. I'll give Orbex credit for that. And there's another bridge over here. This one here, I can't remember the name of it. I really should. Goes across to South Bank. What's that one? There's a Wheel of Brisbane there. The old Vicky Bridge. What's this one called? Wait a minute. There's not a bridge there. There's a bridge down there. There's not a bridge there. There will be a bridge there. But it's not there at the moment. The convention centre down here. Am I right? Brisbane locals? There's not a bridge there. They're building one. Right? And this doesn't exist either. It will exist. This is going to be the new casino. Well, I take back some of my earlier praise of Orbex. They've got some stuff there that doesn't exist. There's Suncorp Stadium, or Lang Park as it's known to us old fellas, Lang Park. That goes under in the flood as well, in the inner western suburbs of Brisbane. You've got to have big money to live there, folks. Oh, performance. Absolutely terror-bubble. We're going to head out towards the airport, which is over here towards the northeast, because we are getting seriously low on juice, and you can see that here on the MFD. Well into the cautionary range as we track towards the airport. It's about 20 odd K from centre of Brisbane, the airport. Did it, I think they shut a runway or something during the height of the flood. Sort of a little bit of standing water on the strip. I don't know which runway they shut down. Was it the old one or the new one? I'm not sure. I'm guessing it's the old one. You'd hope that they built the new one a little bit higher. I don't know. Wind directions. Northwesterly, so that favours an arrival onto 01 left. Why not? Let's do that. Overhead the racetracks here. 01 left, so that's this runway here, the new one. This is just a stock Brisbane airport. I think Orbex have some payware for it. Oh, they stutters. It's a bit of a shame, hey, like, you buy these things, that's why I don't buy many of them, these scenery add-ons. There's the one in Sydney is really good, but it too has a bit of an impact on performance, I find, on my rig. And yeah, it's a trade-off, and sometimes I'm okay to make that trade-off, but I don't know, you have one flight where you fire it up and it's impressive to look at, but it's such a stuttery experience that you just go, bugger it, I'm just going to switch it off. And then you've wasted your $10 or $15 or whatever they are. Anyway, runway 01 left, folks. This feels like a really rambling video. I offer my apologies if that's the case. If you're still with me at this point, and it's going to be a long video, I think, too. If you're still with me, thank you and sorry. But I do appreciate your commitment and your resilience. As always, thank you to all all viewers of the channel. We're getting close to the 1,000 subscriber mark now, which blows me away. Really does. Warms the cockles. I thank you all. We're coming in pretty bloody hot here, eh? Get some flap out. Get us on the deck. Get that virtual coin. Nice little earner, this leg. I told you my dog would not be satisfied with getting her voice heard only once. Plenty to say. Plenty to say today. I'll take full flap, why not? 0-1 left, Brisbane, folks. The speed comes off. And we are on. Feels like it was in slow motion there. Probably be able to get off at this first taxiway. Oh, no problems at all. Let's do that. We'll take flaps up as we do so. Folks, thanks for your company on a somewhat of an unexpected journey today. And I do appreciate your support. I hope you are well wherever you are in the world. And I hope this video provided a little bit of an escape, maybe some entertainment at the very least from a world that's full of, well, it feels like it's full of bad news at the moment. Anyway, folks, thanks again, and we'll see you next time.